Success is often portrayed as a golden mountain, shining, glorious, and full of reward. But few see the steep climb, the bruised hands, and the lonely nights that come before that summit is reached. Why Success Demands Sacrifice is not merely a book about ambition, it is a spiritual journey through the valleys of struggle, perseverance, and the surrender of comfort. It teaches that success is never truly given, it is earned through the quiet sacrifices we make. True success, it says, is not measured only by wealth, recognition, or fame, but by the person one becomes through the pursuit of their purpose. The author reminds us that every meaningful goal has a price, and that price is paid in discipline, patience, and the willingness to let go of what is easy in order to build what is lasting. To achieve anything of worth, one must trade something of value. Time spent mastering a skill could have been used for leisure. Energy invested in learning might have been spent in comfort. But those who rise beyond mediocrity understand that success is a sacred exchange, a divine balance between what we give up and what we grow into. The author tells stories of people who embodied this truth. There is the story of a young musician who practiced in a cold basement every night while his friends went out to parties. Years later, his name echoed across concert halls, and people called him lucky. But the book asks, was it luck, or was it sacrifice that shaped his destiny? The answer is clear: success is built on the unseen choices we make in the dark, the hours we devote to our craft when enthusiasm fades but commitment remains. The book also delves into the emotional side of sacrifice, the loneliness that sometimes comes with choosing purpose over pleasure. Many people fear this solitude, yet the author beautifully reminds us that solitude is not emptiness. It is a sacred space where the soul grows. It is in those quiet, solitary moments that we hear the whispers of our true calling. When you are alone, working silently on your dreams, you are not lost, you are being refined. One of the most powerful lessons the author shares is that success demands not only the sacrifice of comfort but also the sacrifice of ego. Often, our pride keeps us from learning, from starting small, from failing openly. True success requires humility, the courage to look foolish before becoming skilled, to be misunderstood before being admired. Every great inventor, artist, and leader began as a beginner. They embraced the discomfort of not knowing, the vulnerability of trying again and again, even when results were unseen. The author reminds us that failure is not the opposite of success, it is the price of admission. You cannot succeed without failing, and you cannot grow without letting go of who you were. Sacrifice is not just about losing something, it is about making room for something greater. The book's emotional depth shines in its exploration of relationships and success. Many people want to achieve greatness without disrupting their comfort zones or risking the approval of others. But the author gently explains that sometimes, the path to your purpose will separate you from people who cannot see your vision. You may lose temporary connections, but you will find your true tribe, those who align with your values and respect your journey. There is a story about a woman who dreamed of starting her own business but was surrounded by friends who laughed at her ambition. She decided to step back, spending more time learning and working in silence. For a while, she felt isolated and doubted herself. But soon, her small venture grew, her confidence returned, and she realized that sometimes, you must outgrow your environment to step into your destiny. The author also explores a deeper truth: success demands the sacrifice of the past. You cannot carry old fears, limiting beliefs, or regrets into a new chapter. Many people want transformation but resist change. Yet, the old self must die for the new self to be born. The habits that kept you comfortable cannot take you to greatness. The mindset that kept you safe cannot make you powerful. Growth demands release, the letting go of what no longer serves your higher vision. The book also addresses the myth of balance, the idea that one can achieve extraordinary success while keeping everything perfectly comfortable. The author argues that balance is not equality of time but equality of intention. It's about aligning your priorities with your purpose. There will be seasons of sacrifice, nights with little sleep, days filled with effort, and years of delayed gratification. But those seasons, though difficult, become the foundation of freedom later. The narrative turns deeply reflective when the author talks about self-discipline as the highest form of self-love. To discipline yourself is not to punish yourself, it is to respect your dreams enough to stay committed even when it's hard. Many people quit because the process feels heavy, but the book teaches that the weight you carry now builds the strength you will need later. Every sacrifice, every moment of endurance, is shaping your inner power. The book also highlights a subtle but profound point: not all sacrifices are wise. Success requires not blind suffering but purposeful surrender. Sacrificing your health, your integrity, or your relationships for superficial success is not true victory, it is loss disguised as achievement. True success is holistic, it honors your spirit, your growth, and your values. The author encourages readers to ask themselves before every sacrifice, is this loss feeding my purpose or feeding my ego? Through this wisdom, the book reveals that sacrifice, when done consciously, becomes sacred. It becomes an offering to the life you wish to live. The early mornings, the extra effort, the discipline, and the moments of silence are not punishments, they are prayers in motion, expressions of faith in your own potential. The author draws a beautiful metaphor: the seed must break before it grows. It must surrender its form to become the tree it was meant to be. Likewise, you must allow parts of yourself to dissolve, your fears, your doubts, your need for comfort, so that your greater self can emerge. The pain of growth is temporary, but the fruits of it are eternal. There is also an inspiring reflection on time. Success, the book says, is not an event, it is an accumulation. Every small sacrifice, every consistent action, builds upon itself. The law of accumulation works quietly, it rewards the patient. Just as rivers carve canyons over time, persistence carves greatness out of ordinary lives. The key is faith, faith that your daily sacrifices are not in vain, even when results seem invisible. In the final chapters, the tone becomes deeply spiritual. The author reminds readers that success without inner peace is hollow. Sacrifice is not about suffering endlessly, it is about aligning yourself with a higher purpose that gives meaning to your struggle. When you sacrifice something for a dream that uplifts your spirit, your pain becomes sacred, it transforms into gratitude and wisdom. By the end of the book, the reader understands that success is not about taking more from life, but giving more of yourself to it. Every sacrifice you make, every comfort you surrender, becomes part of the foundation upon which your destiny stands. The journey may test your patience, but it will also refine your soul. Ultimately, why success demands sacrifice is a call to awaken the warrior within, the part of you that can endure, persist, and rise. It reminds us that while the road to success is steep, it is also sacred. Each step you take in faith, each moment you choose discipline over distraction, brings you closer not only to your goals but to the truest version of yourself. And when you finally reach that summit, when your dream becomes real and the world applauds your success, you will know in your heart that every sacrifice was worth it. You will stand not as someone who merely achieved, but as someone who transformed. Because the greatest reward of sacrifice is not what you get, but who you become.